Well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't believe in them. I believe people have experienced miracles. I certainly never did. December 23rd, 1987. And I was driving down the highway, driving in my brother's car. It was a Dodge Colt. I don't know what year it was, but it was an older car. And all of a sudden, the car just started shifting down, and I'd get down to 30, 25, 20 miles an hour, and then it would start building back. I'd have to shift all the way down and then to get back up. And this kept happening probably for about 45 miles. Power down, I'd have to shift all the way down, power back up. Finally, it just powered all the way down. So I finally had to pull off to the side of the highway there. And keep in mind, there's no traffic. Nobody was going by. And I finally pulled over, got out of the car, lifted the hood. And remember, I'm only 19 years old. So I knew nothing about cars really at that time. And I fiddling around with the fuel pump, and at that time, I had the old school carburetors and messing around with all that, and I didn't know what I was doing, and did that for about a half hour, and no traffic was driving by. Seems a little dramatic now, but at the time it was just the way I felt, and I just dropped my knees in front of the car out in the middle of nowhere. And I just looking up in the sky, and I say, God, why has this happened to me? It's 2 days before your son's birthday, and it's cold. I have no idea what to do, and there's nobody around. And about that time, and I kid you not, less than 5 minutes, this gentleman on the other side of the highway pulls over and gets out of his car, and it was like an old Subaru. Very pleasant looking fella, He just looked calm. He walks up to me and he said, what seems to be the problem? And I said, can't get my car to start. And I was doing this for the last hour. And he said, let's take a look at it. And he told me, go in the car and try to start it. So I sat down, and first time I cranked it, fired right up. And I couldn't see what he was doing. The hood was up. So I don't know what he tinkered with. I don't know what he did. And I asked him, I said, what'd you do? And he said, well, not really anything. It fired right up. Okay, so, and I was relieved. I was excited. And he kind of helped me put a couple things back together on the car. And I shut the hood. And he said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Lewiston. It's about another 45 minutes, an hour away. And he said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. He says, I'll turn around, I'll follow you into Colfax, make sure you don't have any problems, and then, you can take it from there. And I said, okay. So I get in the car, and I pull back out on the highway, and I start going, and I see him in the rearview mirror, behind me, and he starts pulling out. I can see him pulling, and I start going down the highway, and it's still a little blizzardy, but it's starting to let up a little bit. And I was looking down the road, and I looked back up in the rearview mirror, and he was gone. And man, even when I talk about it, I get a little bit emotional about it, because it was, at that time, I fell on my knees and I looked up to the Lord, and I was asking Him why. And anyway, so I firmly believed He sent an angel. Because the guy, I couldn't see him anymore. I couldn't see him in the rearview mirror, and I got into Colfax. The car was running fine ever since then. It's just, I know a lot of people probably think that, it was a coincidence. Somebody was driving by, but you got to remember that last half hour that I was driving on that stretch right before Colfax, there was no traffic at all. Period. None. And here's this 19-year-old kid, the only car out there. So when the car broke down, I was on the side of the road. And that moment when I told you, I dropped to my knees and I was asking, Lord, why is this happening? I need help. Someone shows up. So I tell people, seek God, pray for him, pray with him, and he'll answer. He'll answer, and at the time you least expect it, he answers prayers. So in his time.